we've got our go-to ngāpui, Te Tai Tokoro, Tohunga and Rangatira and Kaumātua, like Matua Kevin Prime. His leadership is just fantastic, and his ahua is awesome. Tohe Ashby, he's one of the most practical practitioners in regards to rongoa, be it for us as tangata or for the tai ao. So, we've been on a journey together through the tohora mahi. So tohe is one of the most significant tohunga for me in our mahi up home. Matua Hori Parata has always been a rock for me and the mahi that we do. He connected us, with the tohora and helped me realise the whakapapa between the tohora and us and the tohora and kauri, and where we sit in regards to who is the tuakana and where do we sit. So that's another part of actually what's our role in listening to our tuakana, for example, our rākau. Marion Wood, she's with PFR, she's our other co-lead. So she's our science co-lead and I'm the Māori co-lead for Control, Protect, Cure. We also have Andrea Grant, who's with Scion, and she's our social scientist and has actually been instrumental in helping lead our research area. So between the three of us, we've got a really good mix of knowledge and skills and really based, we've got a good solid foundation based on values, which is fantastic. That's going to make the difference, really, I think, just having that social science side of things. That and, applied science, so that it's actually getting stuff done.
Within Control, Protect, Cure, we're interested in identifying and utilising tools and resources that we can use to address the issues of this disease. Like, for example, we're very, very interested in identifying disinfectants that we can use to kill off the kauri spores or the myrtle rust spores that cause these diseases. We're also very interested in how can we detect these organisms out in the field, and in particular, how can we detect them in a manner that doesn't create any more issues. So can we detect these diseases or the pathogens that cause these diseases? How can we detect them out in the field without disrupting the environment? So can we make remote sensors to detect these diseases? And the disinfection side of it is really, really important because, we can detect these diseases or these disease-causing agents out in the field, but if we can't deal with them, then that's only like half the equation. So being able to actually deal with the disease-causing agents, these pathogens, is really very important, and that's what quite a major aspect of our Control, Protect, Cure theme.
Ngārako Taketake has been the first kind of real opportunity to actually have Western science and mātauranga alongside each other in a meaningful way. It's been quite a big learning journey to kind of break into the science and take some scientists that are willing to be open to what mātauranga is and how it can support healing our rangatira rākau. There's a Mātauranga Māori Bioactives research project where we're teaming up with Victoria University and looking at doing some lab-based research potentially for some rongoa species. So there's some work that's already been undertaken and that is showing promising signs, and so a bit more lab work is required. And then there's the opportunity for our mana whenua to ask some questions as well. and hopefully get them answered on how to provide some native, natural rongoa solutions to combating the pathogens that are attacking our rākau. We have Monica Girth, who's leading the science at Vic Uni, and we have a range of mana whenua. We've identified biodiversity management areas, and these biodiversity management areas are a part of mana whenua rohe. And so we've approached I think it's about 16 different mana whenua across Aotearoa that have good capability to be able to actually take on some research, monitor the research, and it helps build their capability and capacity. So there are multiple hapu that we're introducing this mahi to. The other project we have is a cultural monitoring program. So we're looking at there's a whole heap of monitoring frameworks around in each part of the taiao. So there's a Cody Cultural Health Index survey that's available. There's Myrtle Rust science surveys that are available. And so we have cultural monitoring surveys that are available around Wai Māori, Takutai Moana. And so we're looking at developing a he taiao monitoring framework, cultural monitoring framework that can monitor across the whole taiao. So depending on where the cody is or where the myrtle species are, it can be captured whether it's up in the maunga or down on the coast. So developing, working with those that have done that kind of framework before, working with mana whenua on the ground and making sure it's going to be practical. So that's another really awesome research area project that we're rolling out here. Kiri Reihana is one of the key leads in that project. So she's done a lot of work in that space. So we're aiming to develop a cultural framework, or just bring everything in and collate it, and actually identify some key indicators that can be measured across the taiao, and turn that into a digital app, all going well. It was kind of a two-way concurrent sort of a process around a lot of hapu have been engaged in this work for a long time, especially with Cody, over 11 years now. And so those that have Cody in their rohe, and that have prioritised Cody, which is just about all of them, have built their capability, capacity and knowledge around the ngangara that's impacting on the Cody. So just through the relationships that have been built and the networks that have been built over that period, there's a good network of mana whenua that have a good understanding, have been on the journey, and really want to make a difference.
I think for me, some of the challenges have been maintaining a connection with the community. Sometimes, we will have a very engaged conversation with people, and then we're sort of pulled away from it. And I think it's really, really important to maintain that connection and to be open enough for people to feel comfortable to come to talk to us, so our door is always open. And I think there's a lot of, there's a wealth of knowledge from the community if they knew who to go to, who to talk to. And I think that's one of the issues I would like to perhaps open up and not solve, but, make easier for people. We are very approachable and vice versa. So a sensor is something in our mind is that you can detect a spore, for example, or you could detect a disease much like in medicine when you can detect antibodies. So, for example, in the COVID, you can detect the antibodies that in response to a COVID infection. Or you can even detect the COVID virus itself. So we're taking this technology and we're trying to apply it out in the field so we can detect the moving cells, the zoospores, that are responsible for the Kauri dieback disease. And when I say remote, it means, is this something that we can design and we can put in a single location, so we only disrupt that environment once and then we move away from it, but it can send back the signal to us to say there is detection of this pathogen, this disease-causing agent out in the field. The technology we're using is actually a prototype. So we have some of the top scientists in New Zealand working on this over at Auckland University. We have chemists, we have electrical engineers, and we have biologists. And all these cross-disciplines are coming together to create a system that if we can and generate such a sensor, this can allow us to make really good informed decisions that anyone can use and act upon. I like sensors. I like the concept of sensors. I like giving people the freedom to be able to go out into a field and do what they need to do. The generation of sensors and the concept of sensors is really reaching a pivotal point, especially with COVID, in response to COVID. Everyone wanted to know, do I have COVID? Can I be tested? And I'm, 100 kilometres away from Auckland. How do I get tested really easily? So the idea of sensors and that freedom to detect disease in a rapid way is really, really important. The idea of a remote sensor it's another level of complexity, but the benefits, if you can obtain that, the benefits are that you minimize your disruption to the environment. Going into the bush and coming back out has a cost. So if you can minimize that and get the information you need to then make informed decisions about what are you going to do, how are you going to deal with this disease. I've got over in this field here or in this bush, I've got this sudden emergence of Kauri dieback. What am I going to do? How do I monitor it? So that's really the importance for sensors. Certainly in this research, we're just focusing on the Kauri dieback zoospores. So these are amazing little things. They swim through the soil. When I say swim, it's not, at any great speed, but they do swim. And they're the ones that we hope to be able to detect. Detection of myrtle rust spores. We have other technologies that we could apply to that. But within this project is just with Kauri dieback.
Looking at the efficacy of a disinfectant, so Sterigene, and working with Doc just to see what the actual right mix should be for Sterigene. And then once we land on what's the best solution or the ratio for community groups to use where it's safe and safe for the environment, then we can go on to look at other disinfectants, and maybe we can look at rongoa disinfectants and things like that to be able to use to clean gear, to spray your boots with and things like that.
Certainly for the sterilant side of things, we're very interested in myrtle rust control because, as I was saying, being able to wipe down tools or wash your clothing in something that doesn't give you dermatitis, but it allows you to kill the spores so you're not moving them around from site to site is really, really important. And they're part of the toolkit that people who routinely work out in the bush, for example, Doc, they need to have access to these sorts of things. So it's very, very important.
Probably right from the start in the expressions of interest sort of process, kind of identified who would actually be open to, a new way going forward in regards to developing a wakahaurua where Western science is in one hull and Mātauranga Māori is in the other hull, doing their magic on there separately, but then the stuff that's going to actually provide solutions comes into the middle of the waka. And that's where, Peter, you might be a navigator on that waka, and, we might have a few navigators, but we'll have one captain or one chief that's steering the waka. So, that's been an analogy that's been sort of used and expressed quite a lot through the last 12 months. And one that, you know, people sort of can see and grasp the concept. But yeah, it's just having the right people, the right scientists and organisations to break the traditional science system, to be just asking a single question. But it's quite a competitive area too, the CRIs and the unis. So just having the focus more on the take, the issue, you know, let's actually try and do something for the rākau. And then, you know, it was about sharing the understanding. You know, there's still quite a big gap of understanding on what wairua is and what you know, does karakia provide and what do the two combined actually provide. And so there's some pretty cool projects going on with this Ngā Rākau Take mahi to help bridge that gap. There's not going to be a full understanding, you know, from a scientist. They'll want to just delve down and put a number on it and measure it and put a microscope over it, but you can't put a microscope over karakia. So, you know, there's just going to be there is going to be a level of faith that Māori have that scientists may just have to either agree to disagree on or just accept that and go, that's in your fella's waka. Hull. So, and that's what we're saying. That's for us in our hull to deliver and understand the results and the solutions we will do in the middle. You don't really know if it's making a difference, right? And so until you get an opportunity to go to a cross-challenge wānanga where, you know, Ngā Rākau Take leaders and researchers, you know, have a get-together with the strategic outcome themes. And then we're talking about te whakahonanga and this and te whakahonanga that, te whakahonanga being the Māori engagement sort of plan or po. And, you know, it wasn't until then where everyone's going, what's this te whakahonanga thing, and, you know, what's that about? And says, well, it's a Māori, Mātauranga Māori engagement program, you know, and they go, oh, that sounds fantastic, you know, we would love to sort of, you know, see what that looks like. And so then the penny dropped for me. Then I was like, oh, wow, actually, because it's our scientists that are actually going, oh, te whakahonanga this and te whakahonanga that. And you know, I'm sitting back going, oh, yeah, awesome, yeah. Thank you for doing our job. So, you know, so something's actually really, there has been quite a significant shift. Is it enough? Of course not. But actually, it was great. It was really great to see, geez, there has been quite a significant shift already.
Working with Dave is absolutely amazing. I'm really enjoying this. This is a great learning experience for me. He's incredibly supportive. I'm obviously coming from quite a pure science background, and to be exposed to his knowledge, and it's a wealth of knowledge, to be exposed to that and to lead me into what it really means to be genuinely collaborative. I feel very privileged. I feel very lucky that I have within Dave someone who is open enough to share this experience with me, and also to guide me in, this is hard, how do I put it? To guide me into the right space and the right understanding cultures, understanding culture differences, understanding that it's okay to make mistakes, and understanding that we are all in it together, you know, and we really are all in it together. It's the only way we're going to move forward with this. We have different strengths. You know, Dave comes from the Māori sort of, you know, understanding what it means to be Māori, understanding how a relationship is genuine. It's not just a box ticking exercise. And he sort of led me into that area. And I think the thing with Ngāriki Take, for me, coming from a lab space, and I'm a wet lab scientist, so I go in every day and do my experiments, to being exposed to this cultural difference outside the lab and being accepted in, and it's been a real, like I say, it's been a real learning curve for me, and it's opened my horizons as to what is actually out there, and the support and the willingness to come in and collaborate as well.
It's really about, our rangatira rākau and our taiao, and our environment. So anything that's going to make a difference for our environment, then, I'm up for it. This holds a personal sort of purpose for me, because the range behind our marae is called Puke Kauri. So it's quite a significant range to us. It's got kauri all along the range there, and so we've played through there when we were kids and stuff, and so didn't think anything about it, and now that we're sort of starting to see different ngangara coming through and starting to impact our rangatira rākau, that's a real concern. For me, it was definitely something to have a look into. It looked like it was something different. Looked like it was moving more towards my values. It looked like it was actually a model that would actually involve and engage in mana whenua and help build their capability and capacity. It looked like it was actually going to actually get out of the lab and into the field and make a difference, not just stay in the lab. Once I had a look, then I got stuck in it, and so it's just become a responsibility, a priority, as a tangata tiaki, to actually make sure that now that I've put my name in the mix here and committed to it, we've got to make sure that we get some good stuff come out the other end.
Being able to come to the table as equals, I think, is very, very important. I'm not here to come and say, look, this is what you should be doing, this is how you should be doing it. I don't think it works like that at all. But in the same breath, I hope, mana whenua see me, approach me, and want to engage with me, and be it negative, be it positive. I think negatives are almost as important as the positives, because we need to deal with them. We don't put them in a corner and ignore them, and we each understand why we see it as a negative, or the other party sees it as a negative. And I think that would be a strength to really get to that level of honesty and integrity would allow us to move forward. It's taken me from out of the lab to really, I guess, my passion is about applying science. It's all very well doing experiments for the sake of doing experiments, but I want to see an end goal. I want to see it enacted, and I do, want to be part of a team that makes a difference. And the Rakitaki is a big team. We're coming from so many different disciplines, and it works. We have social scientists, we have geographers, we have, pure lab-based scientists, we have Maori, we have all of the above in this mix and pot to address these really serious issues that New Zealand's facing.